Evening, everybody. Welcome. Welcome to SAFRL. Welcome to ACGL. Special race, second race of ACGL we had the first one 2 weeks ago. As you can see, we're joining late. Unfortunately, I just got so used to the 8 o'clock race start, and no one reminded me of the 7 o'clock race start. So we're getting underway pretty late. It's already lap 12 of 36. The only positive I have is I don't need to get used to anything because spectator mode looks exactly the same. Let's try and see what's actually going on. Got a lot of drivers on 11 lap old tires, so those are all drivers that have not made a pit stop. We're starting to see our first rounds of pit stops now. Afrodox leads the way from Big T, Red Bull from Red Bull, but those two drivers on very different strategies. The one driver starting on the hard compound, the other driver starting on the soft compound. We're looking at Big T. That's the driver that started on the soft. Pantry Star in P3. See a lockup. This is Andre. Andre in fourth position for the Ferrari. Obviously, there are a few changes to the handling in this game. So some of the guys will be feeling a little raw, feeling a little fresh on their toes, not quite sure. Don't have that same confidence that they usually do, that the car under them is going to do exactly what they want it to. Afrodox still leads the way. Pantry Star P3, Andre P4. Further down we've got Top Gun in P5. Alpine parting ways with Esteban Ocon. There is now an open Alpine seat for 2025. This is the Mercedes driver currently in P6, Rhino. Just behind him he's got a pair of McLarens, Ivan and Spikes in 7 and 8. Got Chums in P9, and ooh, we just got that action just in time. Chums and Cheddar. Looks like they made contact. Cheddar comes off second best. He's got a fresh set of tires, so that will have annoyed him. Probably wanted to come into the pits, get a good outlap before the rest of the drivers respond. Now he's lost a lot of time. Safety was looking for the undercut. That's gone. Two Red Bulls still P1 and 2, but those strategies very different. Afrodox is going to be going much later on into this race than his teammate. Big T, then Pantry Star, then Andre. Seems like we're seeing a lot of lockups out there. Or it's just a lot of smoke. Top Gun P5, Rhino still P6, pair of McLaren still 7 and 8. Lots of lockups now. Look at these two. These two are coming together again. Cheddar and Chums. Remember we saw them just a lap ago and they made contact. Now getting awfully close together again. Cheddar this time wants to go around the outside. Look at that. Cheddar up into P8. Ivan will be his next target, just up the road. Past the one McLaren. Now it's time to catch the other one. At the front, Red Bulls seem unperturbed. Everything seems to be under control. Gotzi making up the field there in P13. You can see that car is ghosting. We're getting a few penalties up on our screen now, almost simultaneously. Welcome to Death Queen in the comment section. I apologize for the late broadcast. It was my mistake. I forgot that ACGL was not at 8 o'clock. It was earlier on. I do apologize. Had an intro and everything. Red Bull from Red Bull. If you've been on the game for the past couple of hours practicing and you haven't seen the news, Red Bull have re-signed Sergio Perez for another 2 years. So as far as Red Bull goes, there will be no silly season. SAFRL still leads the way. That second Red Bull is now in the pits. We see him just coming out of the pits now. He's currently in P5. He's going to lose another couple of positions, probably come out in P7 or 8. Now begins his second stint of the race. He's chosen to go with the medium compound. Let me know in the comment section if you have any idea on what we can expect out of these tires. I suppose it's a really difficult question. We're starting all from scratch. It's F124. Some things are going to be different. Not going to be able to rely on the data of the past. Of course, for the most part, it seems like people don't know what they want. If the new game comes out and it feels exactly the same, it's going to be called a copy and paste game. If they change it a little, everyone hates it. SAFRL still out front. Pantry Star, he was in P3, he's obviously been promoted up to P2 as a result of that pit stop from the second Red Bull. Pantry Star now getting through on that Williams of Gotzi. Remember, that car is ghosting, so being lapped now on lap 17. Doesn't seem like we've had any retirements. And from the tyre strategies that I see, I don't see anybody really out of sync with anybody else. So I don't think we've had any safety cars in this race. Can't be certain. We missed the first 10 laps or so. I walked into the comms box expecting an invite, getting ready for an invite, and when I walked in, there were 5 invites, and the race had started. Cheddar in P4. We saw him have that spin earlier on. Sorry for the silence there. I don't know what that was. My controller for some reason is vibrating when the drivers go over the curbs. It's not supposed to do that. So if you do hear a rumbling in the background, that's my controller letting me know the drivers are on the curbs. This is Andre. Such a fantastic circuit, Interlagos. Ever since it first got on the calendar, maybe wrong, but I think it was in the mid-80s, 86 possibly. This track has remained mostly the same. So the layout these guys are currently driving on is the same layout the likes of Senna, the likes of Piquet, the likes of Prost, they all drove this circuit. Pretty much exactly the same layout. Rhino picks up a 3-second penalty. I'm going to bring up that penalty screen just to have a look. As you can see, there's absolutely no difference in spectator mode, so at least I don't need to learn anything. And we do have a lot of penalties. We've got a 10-second penalty for SAFRL. That could prove crucial later on in the race. Cheddar, P3, Big T, P4. Both of those drivers have 3-second penalties. Then a 6 seconds penalty for Rhino. Then we've got 3 apiece for Top Gun, Skull and Spikes. Andre running things at the front of the race for now. Remember, he has not made a pit stop. And it's always so difficult to tell here in Brazil when the drivers are coming in for that pit stop, because they get really close to the inside to cut that corner as much as possible, and sometimes it just looks like they're going to dive into the pits and they're not. Andre still leads the way, Afrodox P2. Yeah, Death Queen, I saw that. Afrodox has a 10-second penalty. I'm not sure what that could be. I know. Has he made a pit stop? Let's just get the confirmation if he's made a pit stop. He's made one pit stop, so the only thing I can guess is that he had maybe a 5-second penalty for some sort of a collision. Obviously we missed the first 10 laps, so this is purely me just guessing, but I'm guessing maybe he had some sort of a collision giving him a 5-second penalty, and then the second 5-second penalty would have been on that pit stop. Let's just have a look at that penalty screen again, make sure I'm not talking rubbish. Afrodox here has 10-second penalty, and now Skull has picked up a penalty as well, and it's a major penalty. He had just 3 seconds, he's up to 13. So Skull has also picked up a 10-second penalty along the way. And we do have our first safety car. As you can see, I didn't broadcast the first 10 laps of the race, and they had an amazing race. It was clean and it was fine. But now we've got a stream, not Fernando's on the comms, and we have a safety car. I'm still trying to spot a difference here in spectator mode. If you see a difference, let me know. Obviously with the exception of the little HUD there in the middle, everything else is the same. Could have given us a new camera angle, but maybe in 2026. Now what this does is it really hurts the guys with penalties. It hurts them the most. This brings the entire field together. Sometimes you could have a 3-second penalty and you could get away with it, because the driver behind you is more than 3 seconds away. But in this scenario, it brings the cars close together. You have a 3-second penalty, still a few laps to go, you might still get away with it. But if you're one of those drivers with the 10 seconds worth of penalties, it's really going to hurt you. We saw a double stack there by Red Bull, so the pit lane getting very, very busy. Guys know after this safety car there's going to be probably just over 10 laps remaining, so I think everybody's coming in. They're going to put on a set of softs, or the softest compound they have available. They're going to come out and they're going to do what they can do. Andre was one of the men that got into the pits, so he got into the pits and he got out of the pits in the lead with a brand new set of softs, so he's in a very strong position in the final stint of the race. Cheddar's going to be just behind him on a set of mediums, so not all these drivers going with the same strategy. Maybe they just don't have a set of softs left. Of course, if you don't have fresh softs, everybody does have relatively fresh softs. I think we've seen our first safety car glitch. Look at the top left hand side of your screen, it's going crazy. Epilepsy warning. So now not only do we get safety car in the top left hand side of the, it flashes just to let us know. And there we go, it's gone, thank goodness. At the restart, Andre will lead the way from Cheddar, those two softs and mediums, next to Afrodox and Big T, also soft mediums, next to Pantry Star and Top Gun, also soft mediums. So we're going to find out later on who got the right idea here. Might be a little bit of a stretch, about 12 laps maybe on those softs. What will they feel like at the end? A lot of these guys could be heading into uncharted territory. Remember, it's a new game. Some of these guys will have spent the whole week on this game and they'll be well rehearsed already. Others, mistake may just creep in here and there. Do have the safety car, but I'm not quite sure what it was for. It may have been for a collision, may have been for somebody going off the circuit, but it definitely was not for a DNF, because it seems like we still have everyone running. Skull has retired. I wonder if that is the cause of this safety car, or if he retired after that safety car was triggered. Obviously bad luck today for Skull, the second of the two Ferrari drivers. Well, enjoy what you can, what's left of the stream. Fortunately, the first 10 laps are missing, as well as qualifying. Of course, channel has been a little quiet, but it will get going again in about a week from now. Some of the leagues on a break. Safety car is in, and as you can see, Andre now takes the responsibility of backing up that field, and Cheddar will have the responsibility of not letting Andre get the jump. Of course, if that P1 driver does get the jump on the P2 driver, it makes it very difficult for everyone else in the field, because you've got to sit behind P2. There can't be any overtake until the start-finish line. That doesn't seem to be a problem. Turn 1 doesn't seem to be a problem. Everybody seems to be getting through there pretty nicely. The Red Bulls, they were 1 and 2, they're now 3 and 4. But all of these drivers on a fresh set of tyres. Now Andre gets past, very nicely done. Cheddar gets to the corner already in the lead, so they didn't need to make the overtake in the corner. DRS not active yet. And now Aphrodite up into P2. Andre losing positions down to P3, and now a second Red Bull trying to budge him out the way. He can fight back. Will he fight back? It's Ferrari versus Red Bull, and on this occasion the Red Bull comes out on top. Aphrodite, Big T, the two Red Bulls, they want P1 and 2 back. They want those positions back, but they're going to have to fight the Mercedes if they're going to get that right. At the back of the field, well, that car's still there. I'm pretty sure that's not supposed to happen. The entire point of the safety car is get rid of the stationary car, but that car seems to be in a slightly dangerous position, and the driver hasn't got out the cockpit, so I don't know. A suicidal driver, or the game is showing us a few glitches early on. Cheddar leads the way from Big T. Interestingly enough, those two drivers, P1 and P2, they're both on the medium compound, so I would have thought that those drivers on the softs would have had the advantage, at least in the opening couple of laps. But Cheddar, followed by the two Red Bulls, top two on mediums. Aphrodite's on a set of softs. He should have the advantage over the two drivers ahead of him. It seems like for now, Cheddar has this all sorted out. He's 1.9 seconds ahead. Cheddar 109.1, fastest lap of the race. Oh, and the two Red Bulls. The two Red Bulls getting awfully close in turn 1, making contact, but luckily for both of them, they both come out of the exit of turn 1. Now going side by side again, and this is why we don't have two top drivers in Red Bull. That's why Red Bull prefer a Max Sergio Perez combination, because you're not going to have this wheel-to-wheel fighting action. Frankly, I'd love to see a top driver in that second Red Bull seat, but I think Red Bull management, they're a little smarter than that. Of course, for that one, Red Bull will just have to look at the history books. What happens when you put two very good drivers next to each other in a team? It usually doesn't end well. Ask McLaren, because they happen to do it twice. In 1989, they decided to pair Ayrton Senna and Alain Prost, the rivals, and that was a disastrous season. And then again, in 2007, McLaren hired double world champion Fernando Alonso, and they thought, we don't want anyone to challenge Alonso, so let's just get a rookie that'll sit back and let Alonso do his thing. But unfortunately for Alonso and McLaren, that rookie was Lewis Hamilton, and we know how that teammate partnership ended up. Front is still Mercedes, Red Bull, Red Bull. Then we've got an Aston Martin pantry star back where he was when we started broadcasting this race. He was in P4. Andre led the race briefly at the restart, had a fresh set of tyres on the car, thought he'd be able to hold on to it for a little longer than he did, but we know those drivers ahead, they are crazy fast. Those are the drivers on top. They are the drivers known in the community as the aliens. Big T, 3-second penalty, multiple warnings. So now, lots of drivers there at the front with penalties. Let's just bring that penalty screen up again, because it could be crucial. Big T, 6 seconds worth of penalties, 3 seconds worth of penalties to Cheddar. I think those are the two most important penalties on our screens right now. So Afrodox, he's 3.4 seconds behind the leader, which means that would negate the 3-second penalty to Cheddar. Afrodox would still finish now half a second behind, so he needs to close that gap, needs to close the gap below 3 seconds, and he will be able to win this race if he keeps that penalties column clean. But unfortunately for him, the gap's not getting smaller, it's getting bigger. 3.5 seconds, and he needs to reel him in. He doesn't need to pass him on track, but he needs to reel him in. Afrodox does have the soft tyre, so it's still in the realm of possibility. Yeah, Death Queen, that's right, the aliens. The aliens are out front. I can promise you, if I was in this field, there's only 13 of them, but I'd be in P20. Cheddar still leads from Big T. Now those Red Bulls have actually swapped positions. Afrodox was up into P2 on a set of softs. Thought he might make some ground there at the front, but seems like they've switched positions again. Big T, the Red Bull driver on mediums, is now the driver ahead. Pantry stop still P4, but coming under pressure from the Ferrari behind him. That's the only remaining Ferrari. The other Ferrari out of this race. Let's actually have, yes, he's still there. So we have a DNF, we have a safety car. We come to the conclusion of that safety car, we have a restart. And the marshals forgot to move the car. And the driver never bothered getting out. He just thought, well, I'll watch from here. Ferrari putting pressure on the Aston Martin. Pantry star will be feeling that pressure. It's late on in the race. Tires might be starting to slip and slide. Now all of a sudden you've got somebody in your mirrors, going left, going right, letting you know. Skull believes I'm a good driver, but that's probably because the one time I raced him he had a broken wing. So Andre's still P5, Rhino is still P6, his teammate's actually up in the lead of the race, so the two Mercedes, both in the top 6, Top Gun P7, Divan, Haven't given the McLarens too much coverage. They've been towards the rear of the top 10, but still in the points. Of course, this is a one-off event, so you must excuse me when I bring up points. This event is not for points. Spikes P10. Second Alpine, Wild, then Gutsy, that car's been ghosting, and Skull still watching the race from a very dangerous position. It's probably the best view in the house though. Cheddar out front, gap continues to grow, 4.1 seconds. Just nothing the two Red Bulls can do about it. Chums picks up another penalty. So this is going to be one of those races that I can't read out the order until the official results come out. It's just so many penalties scattered around the field. Of course, we are almost in the safety car safe zone. One more lap to go, of course, with 3 laps remaining. Can not have any more safety cars unless F124 decides to surprise us. Cheddar still out front. For a second I thought he was getting involved in a battle, but he's not. He's lapping Gotsy's ghost car. Afrodox still ahead of Big T. I think the Red Bulls have come to terms with the fact that they're not going to be able to catch Cheddar, but they're going to have a race with each other. 32 of 36. We don't have much longer to go in this race. Of course, we've seen situations like this in the past end very badly. We've seen drivers leading by a huge margin and losing it with laps to go, all on their own, with no pressure, no one in their mirrors. Just that lapse in concentration. Skull just saying anything is possible in this game, and that's going to be true at least for the next couple of weeks, maybe even the next couple of months. We know that sometimes it takes a long time for game developers to get things sorted out, and sometimes it takes an entire game cycle and things are still broken. So we'll know more in the coming weeks. That is definitely one that never used to be a thing. The car remains on track after the safety car. If you're just going to leave the car on track, why the safety car? Top Gun adds to the penalties column, 3 seconds now. Let's just bring those penalties up once more, just to get a general idea of what's happening. We've got a 3-second penalty for the leader, we've got a 6-second penalty for the man in P2. Then Afrodox, Pantry Star, Andre all keeping their penalties clean. Rhino, 6 seconds. Divan, no penalties. Top Gun, most penalties on the evening. Top Gun up to 16 seconds. Then Spikes, 3 seconds. Chums, 3 seconds. Wild, 3 seconds. And then obviously, for some reason, still showing Skull out on track, but the car has retired. Still showing 13 seconds worth of penalties to that driver, but that driver is no longer in the race. Yeah, your AI refuses to get out of the car. Just putting a Fernando Alonso. At least Fernando Alonso got a beach chair and watched the race from the side. You're just watching it from the cockpit. Told the marshals to go away, and you're going to watch the race from there. Afrodox up into P2 now. He's got no penalties next to his name, but that gap to the leader It's a little too big with just 2 laps to go. He's not going to be able to close that up to 3 seconds, is he? I'm not quite sure. Got a few viewers now watching the race. Apologies for the late start. It's not going to happen again. It's just a, should I call it a miscommunication or a no communication? Probably should have checked up on things. Cheddar from Aphrodite, Pantry Star, now up into the podium positions, and crucially no penalty next to his name. But is he going to be able to hold on? Because the Ferrari is definitely not giving up on that podium. Andre in P4, lots of lockups. Not sure if these are lockups or if this is just the new game showing us stupid things, but it seems to be lockups. Andre just getting closer and closer. Let's have a look. What is the tire situation? It's not going to be about tires because these two cars are on exactly the same tires. Ferrari goes alongside with the Aston Martin, should get through, does get through, and he's going to be able to, if he can just get that car stopped. Problem for him is the Aston Martin's going to have DRS next time around. He's going to go side by side. He's going to have that advantage. There's not much Andre can do there. He's just got to sit as close as he can behind that Aston Martin. Hope that Pantry Star gets a bad run out of a corner, something like that. But you really need to be on the gearbox of that car, and at the moment I just don't think he's going to be close enough to make a difference. Cheddar heads up the hill for the final time. He's going to win this race. He's got a 3-second penalty next to his name, but he could have 6 seconds next to his name. It wouldn't make a difference. He goes over the line, wins the race, first man to see the checkered flag. Then we have the first of the 2 Red Bulls. Aphrodite over the line, and it looks like Pantry Star is going to come through in the final podium position. It's going to be close, but he's going to run out of tarmac as the Ferrari driver. 4th place for Ferrari, 3rd place for Aston Martin. How close is that? Just a 10th and a half between P3 and 4. Really nicely done at the end there. Big T picks up the fastest lap of the race. That's why he went in for the softs. Top Gun P6. And of course, we're just going to wait for the official results before we read anything out. Because with all these penalties, we're going to have a few switches yet to come. Ian saying that the back marker helped Pantry. Definitely one of the things that does happen is when it happens in real life too. If you lap a, well, if you go on to lap a car, what? Why does it say Ferrari there? I'm still trying to figure that out. If you do get behind a lapped car, it does activate your DRS. And there we have your official results for the ACGL second race. Cheddar winning the race from Aphrodite, Pantry Star P3, then Andre got so close at the end there, finishes P4, Big T P5, made a late pit stop, took the fastest lap of the race. Then Divan P6, Wino P7, Spikes P8, Top Gun P9, and Chums making up the top 10. We had Wild P11, Gotsy P12, but that car seemed to be ghosting around for most of the race, and Skull was our only retirement. Thank you to everybody who joined the stream today. Apologies for the late start, it won't happen again. Gotta get this sorted out, but we will be back on Thursday night with DRS, and I believe we'll be back next week with SAFRL, but I'll confirm that with everyone who's watching on Thursday night. So thank you very much if you joined us live. If you're watching this later on in the week or later on tonight, apologies about qualifying, apologies about the first 10 laps. I hope you enjoyed what was left of the broadcast. And of course, if you enjoyed, leave a like. If you haven't subscribed, I'm one away from 150. So if you haven't subscribed, be number 150. Until Thursday night, thank you all, and I'll speak to you then. Cheers.